This is David Wheaton. The following is a short take from the Christian Worldview radio program. You can hear the full program at thechristianworldview.org. Correct my little sentence there to you this morning if there's anything wrong with it, or expand on it as to how you see this impacting the future in biblical prophecy.
Sure. I think that this is a very important issue. I am in agreement with your assessment. I think it's important to understand that this 12-day war between Israel and Iran was not the Gog and Magog war. We wrote an essay of 2 parts about that in the February and March issue of the Christian Worldview Journal, very, very detailed. And very clearly, the Bible shows that Iran, which is called Persia in the Bible, is a key player in the Gog and Magog invasion that is recorded in Ezekiel 38 and 39. So it seems to me that by leaving the Islamic regime in place through the ceasefire and by ending this war possibly so much prematurely, it will give the Islamic regime the opportunity to rebuild, and that it will ally at some point with Turkey to stage an invasion, of Israel. We can really remember 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when Paul warned that while people are saying peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them. So, that's kind of a warning that we should be alert to, a false sense of security. And Daniel 9:27 also tells us that the Antichrist will come as a man of peace and we will broker a covenant with Israel. So, as I've mentioned before, if this is going to happen in our lifetimes, then very clearly the Abraham Accords are framework for that peace deal that the Antichrist is going to either expand upon or make greater. I think the other thing that really came to light is how many Christians are anti-Israel. So you have basically anti-Semitism spiraling across the world, and it's largely from the political left through the Islamists and through evangelicals, through the Christian right. And what I saw on social media over the last 2 weeks is sickening. We can have our disagreements in terms of eschatology as Christians, that covenant theology holds that all the promises that God gave to Israel in Genesis to Abraham no longer belong to Israel, but they belong to the church. It's called replacement theology. And that the modern state of Israel is not a fulfillment of Bible prophecy, that everything now that God is doing is through the church. I mean, this is basically completely erroneous if you take a literal grammatical hermeneutic of the Bible. What a lot of covenant theologians do is they interpret the entire Bible literally, but then when they get to any mention of Israel in the Old Testament, they immediately replace it or allegorize it with the word church. And so if there was really a consistent hermeneutic of the Old and New Testaments, it would lead you to dispensational theology. I mean, it's completely clear. I think it's really sad to see how many of these Reformed people, these covenant theologians, were really attacking Christians who are pro-Israel, and how much anti-Semitism and true, I won't say hatred, but disgust for Israel there is among so-called evangelical Christians. Very, very sad.
This has been a short take from the Christian Worldview radio program. To hear the full program and connect with this nonprofit radio ministry, go to thechristianworldview.org. I'm David Wheaton.